Chosen one, you didn't land here by accident. Something greater pulled you in. Not just curiosity, not just coincidence, but divine alignment. Because what's coming next for you is bigger than anything you've seen before. It's not another heartbreak, not another letdown. It's a breakthrough, a shift in your spirit, in your story, in your love life, and yes, even in your bank account. You've carried the weight. You've cried behind closed doors. You've questioned if you were asking for too much. To be loved, to be chosen, to be seen and still embraced. But here's what heaven wants you to know. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for what's already yours. There is someone out there, not just any someone, a soul that vibrates in perfect harmony with yours, wealthy in heart, abundant in spirit, and yes, someone who understands how to love a soul like yours. They're already on the way. But before that moment meets you, you must remember who you are. You're not just hoping for love. You are love. You're not just wishing for abundance. You are the magnet for it. So pause, breathe. Let this message move through you like wind through trees, because what you're about to hear will stir something ancient in your spirit. If you're ready to walk through this door, if you're open to receiving what's always been meant for you, then stay with me. Let your heart lean in. And if this already resonates deep in your soul, drop 77 in the comments, because that's not just a number, it's a declaration. You're not here by mistake. You were led here on purpose, and by the end of this message, you'll know exactly why. Take a breath, chosen one. Not the shallow kind, a deep, soul-level breath. Because the moment you're in right now, this exact point in time, isn't just another ordinary day. It's the beginning of your alignment. Can you feel it? Something subtle but unmistakable. A pull, a whisper, a stirring in your chest. That's not anxiety, that's activation. Your energy is shifting, rising, realigning to match the life you were always meant to live. And this is what no one tells you. That long before you meet your soulmate in the physical, you meet them in the spirit. Before the eyes lock, before the hands touch, before the names are exchanged, your souls already recognize one another. They begin circling closer, orbiting the same frequency, drawn by a magnetism that defies logic. Not because you're chasing, but because you're becoming. You're becoming the version of yourself that your soulmate is destined to meet. The healed you, the aligned you, the open you. And you may not have noticed it, but the signs are everywhere. Little moments of serendipity, conversations that leave your spirit buzzing, dreams that feel a little too real, numbers repeating, energy shifting. These aren't random, they're confirmations. See, the universe doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes it speaks in rhythm, in gentle, sacred timing. And right now it's whispering, get ready. Because your person, the one that's been prepared for you, they're not far, not anymore. Their journey has been just as long. They've cried too, they've prayed, they've healed wounds that mirror your own. And now, without even knowing it, they're being drawn in, drawn not to a fantasy, not to a role, but to your truth. That's the difference between what's coming and what you've known before. This love isn't built on ego or performance. It's not about fixing or filling a void. It's about resonance. Two souls vibrating in the same spiritual pitch, meeting each other in the middle of their evolution. But here's the key: they don't arrive when you're desperate. They don't show up when you're chasing. They appear when you become still enough to receive. So if lately you've felt the urge to slow down, to let go of striving, to pull your energy inward, that's not regression, that's preparation. You are not being delayed, you are being aligned. Because when the real thing comes, it won't feel like chaos. It won't confuse you, drain you, or make you question your value. It will feel right, like peace wrapped in skin, like familiarity you can't explain. And maybe you've had flashes of it before. A moment where someone looked at you and truly saw you. A connection that felt electric, even if brief. That was the preview. This next chapter, that's the full arrival. But here's what's so powerful about divine timing. It doesn't require you to do more. It asks you to be more, to be more honest with yourself, to be more aligned in your values, to be more willing to release what no longer serves the version of you that's rising. So if people are falling away, if certain paths are suddenly closing, if your old life feels like it's unraveling at the seams, that's not punishment, that's redirection. You can't walk into destiny dragging dead weight. You can't hold divine love with hands full of fear. So yes, there's a pruning, but it's making room. Room for joy, room for connection, room for love that doesn't demand your silence or your shrinking. And not just any love, but love that sees you, love that reflects God's kindness, love that isn't afraid of your power but celebrates it. This kind of connection, it changes everything, not because you lose yourself in it, but because you finally find the freedom to be yourself in it. Your soulmate won't be looking for someone to complete them. They'll be someone who is whole on their own, but knows that life is better when walked with someone sacred. And you'll recognize them not by how they impress you, but by how your spirit relaxes in their presence. No masks, no games, just truth. But before we move forward, hear me. This moment is sacred because once you understand this truth, you can never go back to settling. And that's what this part of your journey is really about. Not just attracting love, but becoming the version of you that can sustain it. You've done the survival phase. You've done the lessons, the healing, the inner work. Now it's time to receive, not through force, not through performance, but through alignment. And if that word sounds abstract, let me simplify it for you. Alignment is peace. Alignment is honesty. Alignment is trusting that you don't have to force what's already yours. You're not waiting on your soulmate to complete you. You're preparing to recognize them. You're clearing the static. You're tuning in. And soon when your paths cross, it will feel like remembering something your soul has always known. So now the question becomes, are you ready to believe that this kind of love isn't just for other people? Because in next part, we're going to uncover the lies you've been told, and more importantly, the truth about why you are more than worthy of both love and wealth together. Let's keep going. In previous part, we felt the shift. We acknowledged that your energy is changing, and that the soulmate meant for you isn't a distant hope, but a soul already moving closer. Now let's get real for a second, because even though your spirit may sense the truth, your mind might still be resisting it. And that's where we begin this next part, with the old programming, with the lies that got planted so deeply you started to mistake them for truth. The belief that real love, healthy love, wealthy, supportive, abundant love is for other people, not for you. But let me ask you this. Who told you that? Whose voice made you think that being deeply loved and divinely supported was too much to ask for? Was it an absent parent, a toxic partner, a society that celebrates struggle and calls it humility? Who convinced you to settle, to play small, to only desire half of what your soul was designed for? Because if we're going to clear the path to what's already yours, we need to expose the roots of limitation. The truth is, you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong people. And maybe they couldn't give you what you needed. Not because you were unworthy, but because they were unequipped. You see, some people can't hold sacred love because they've never held it for themselves. And you trying to be less to make them stay, that was never the answer. So let's rewrite it. Let's unlearn it. Let's speak this truth out loud. I am not hard to love. I am just no longer willing to be loved poorly. Because the love that's coming, it's not transactional, it's not performative. It won't make you beg, shrink, or question your value. It will feel like a mirror, one that reflects the divine beauty, power, and purpose you carry, one that sees you, even in silence, even in stillness. And that kind of love only arrives when you start seeing yourself the same way. You don't need to earn this love. You need to receive it. But to receive it, you must believe you're worthy of it. And that's where many chosen ones struggle. Because you've been told you have to hustle for everything. That you have to prove you're lovable. That only when you've suffered enough, healed enough, or accomplished enough, then maybe you'll deserve it. But that's a lie. You deserve love now, not later, not once you've perfected yourself, now. Because real love doesn't require a performance. It just requires your presence. You showing up with your truth, your light, your scars, your softness. That's more than enough. That's what the right person will cherish. And yes, that kind of love often feels foreign at first, especially when you're used to breadcrumbs, when you've been taught to call emotional neglect strength, or manipulation passion, or struggle romance. But the new you, the aligned you, you're not settling anymore. You're choosing wholeness over chaos, peace over adrenaline, depth over drama. And that's why your soulmate, the one who truly gets you, can finally find you. Because you've stopped pretending, you've stopped contorting, you're standing in your truth. And here's the secret. When you love yourself deeply, you create a frequency so clear only those who honor that love can enter your space. The rest, they fall away, naturally. Not because you're bitter, but because your boundaries have become sacred. And sacred energy doesn't entertain anything that dilutes it. 433. Now let's talk about the other part, the one people rarely speak on. Wealth, not just love, but abundant love. Love that flourishes. Love that is supported by stability, clarity, and peace. Because chosen one, you were not just meant to be loved. You were meant to be well loved, held in both emotional and material support. You've likely been conditioned to believe you have to choose love or money, spirituality or success, joy or responsibility. But that's another illusion, a deeply ingrained generational lie. Because what's truly divine doesn't come in pieces. It comes complete. The love that's coming won't just be emotional. It will be expansive. Together, you and your partner will create a space where wealth flows, ideas thrive, and purpose meets provision. Because love is not meant to survive in struggle. It's meant to flourish in freedom. And that kind of freedom, spiritual and financial, is your birthright. But let me say this clearly. Wealth isn't just about money in the bank. It's about having the resources, the peace, and the space to live in alignment with your purpose. To give without fear, to rest without guilt, to love without pressure. So don't feel selfish for desiring both. You're not ungrateful. You're aware. You're awake to the reality that your life was never meant to be one-dimensional. That God is big enough to give you a love that nourishes and a life that sustains. You are allowed to want partnership and provision, romance and rest, safety and spark. That's not too much, that's divine balance. And the more you believe that, the more you align with it. Because belief shapes your energy, and your energy shapes your reality. So right now, speak this with me. I am worthy of love and abundance. Not just one, but both. I am worthy of being chosen by someone who values my soul and builds with me in purpose. Let that settle into your spirit. Let it replace every almost and every not enough you've ever been handed. Because your past doesn't get to define your capacity to receive. Your pain was part of the process, but it is not the pattern that has to repeat. You're stepping into a new frequency now, and that frequency doesn't attract lessons anymore. It attracts alignment, now that you've begun to reclaim your worth. And you've seen that real love and real wealth are not only possible but destined for you. It's time to dive deeper. Because next we're going to talk about the true source of your abundance, why it's already inside you, and how stepping into your power will unlock what's been waiting all along. Let's continue, chosen one. Let's go deeper now. You've already begun to feel the truth rising in you. That love and abundance aren't far-off dreams. They are frequencies you're learning to live in. But to truly receive what's coming, you must confront a core truth. You were made for more. Not more as in constant hustle. Not more as in never being satisfied. But more in the divine sense. More peace. More clarity. More alignment. More freedom to be exactly who you are without shrinking. Because whether the world acknowledged it or not, you have always been chosen for a higher path. And that higher path, it doesn't demand that you suffer to be spiritual. It doesn't require you to settle for crumbs and call it gratitude. It asks you to remember who you are, to stop dimming your light to fit into small space or to make other people comfortable with your greatness. Let's be honest, you've outgrown some things, and it's okay to say that. You've outgrown environments that only celebrated you when you were silent. You've outgrown people who only stayed when you were struggling. You've outgrown belief systems that glorified pain and called it purpose. But growth doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with isolation, with shedding, with long nights where you wonder if it's all worth it. Let me assure you, it is. Because every tear you've cried, every cycle you've broken, every boundary you've set has been preparing you for this next level. And this next level requires a new mindset. It requires a new lens to see yourself. Not through the trauma, but through the truth. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are not unworthy. You are being refined. You are not too much. You are more than enough. For the right person, for the right purpose, for the right path. This is the season where you stop apologizing for desiring a life that's full, not just spiritually full, but emotionally and financially fulfilled. Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that to be humble meant to be in lack, that to be spiritual meant to struggle. But that's not divine truth. That's distortion. True abundance doesn't distract you from God. It reflects Him. True wealth isn't just money in your hands, it's peace in your spirit, freedom in your time, and wholeness in your heart. When your soul is in alignment, everything else flows. And here's something powerful to hold on to. You are not behind. You are not late. You haven't missed your window. What's meant for you is still meant for you. The person, the purpose, the prosperity. It's all still on the table, waiting for the version of you that believes it's possible. So I ask you right now, can you believe it again? Can you believe that you are worthy of a love that doesn't play games, a life that feels aligned, and a future that reflects heaven's goodness? Because belief is the key, not just faith in the universe, but faith in yourself, the part of you that survived the heartbreak, the part of you that kept going when no one clapped, the part of you that still dares to dream even after disappointment. That part of you is sacred, that part of you is powerful. And when you let go of needing everything to be perfect, you open the door for everything to become aligned. You see, alignment isn't about forcing outcomes, it's about trusting your energy will attract what matches your frequency. That means if you want real love, be real with yourself. If you want wealth, start honoring your value. If you want peace, stop entertaining what disrupts it. The universe isn't asking you to chase, it's asking you to embody. Be the version of yourself that already has what you desire. Speak as her, walk as him, think, feel, act from the place of knowing it's already done. When you shift from asking when it will happen to trusting that it already is, everything changes. And it's not just about thinking positively. It's about rewiring your spirit to align with truth. Because the truth is, you were made to thrive. You were made to be seen. You were made to receive deeply, not just give endlessly. So what does this look like in real life? It looks like setting a boundary without guilt. It looks like saying yes to opportunities even when fear whispers you're not ready. It looks like choosing rest without shame. It looks like letting go of relationships that feel heavy and welcoming ones that feel honest. It looks like seeing your reflection and saying, I am enough. I am ready. I was made for more. And each time you say that, each time you affirm your divine worth, you're unlocking the very doors that once felt sealed shut. Because the universe listens when you speak from the soul. It hears the vibration of your healing. It feels the frequency of your trust, and it responds. Not just with comfort, but with confirmation. Confirmation in the form of unexpected blessings, aligned opportunities, divine connections, and yes, that wealthy, loving soulmate who feels like home. Because now you're not just wishing for them. You're ready for them. You've created space, you've done the work, you've healed, you've grown. And as your energy rises, so does your reality. So now that you know, you were never asking for too much, you were asking from the wrong version of yourself. And now that you've remembered, you were made for more. It's time to release what's still holding you back. Coming up next, we'll talk about letting go, not just physically, but energetically. We'll explore how surrender isn't weakness. It's the secret to receiving everything that's been waiting for you. Because the more you let go, the more that flows. Let's pause for a moment. You've already begun the shift. You're remembering your worth, opening your spirit to real love, and accepting that you were made for more. But now comes the part that many resist, the part that requires trust on a whole new level. Letting go. And I know. That phrase alone can feel like a threat when you've spent years clinging to people, patterns, and mindsets that made you feel safe, even when they were hurting you. But chosen one, what if I told you the very things you're holding on to are the things blocking your blessing? What if the love you're waiting for can't step in because your hands are still gripping pain? What if the abundance you crave can't flow in because your heart is still tethered to scarcity? This is where true transformation happens, not in the doing, but in the releasing. Letting go is not failure. It's not giving up. It's making space. Space for peace. Space for alignment. Space for the version of you that doesn't just hope, but receives. So many of us try to control everything. Timelines, outcomes, the behavior of others. We think if we just try hard enough, hold on tight enough, fix it fast enough, then maybe things will finally work. But the truth is, holding on too tightly is a form of fear, and fear repels what faith attracts. The universe doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to openness. Think of it like a river. The more you try to dam it up, the more resistance builds. But when you allow it to flow, when you trust the current, it finds its way straight to you. And your blessings work the same way. So what does letting go look like, really? It looks like no longer trying to convince someone to choose you. It looks like walking away from a situation that constantly depletes your energy, even if it's familiar. It looks like loosening your grip on how love or success must show up, and being willing to receive it in a way that surprises you. Letting go means releasing control without losing hope. It means stepping back, not because you're weak, but because you finally trust what's unfolding. Because trust is the highest form of faith. You don't need to manipulate your way into love. You don't need to force your path into alignment. You just need to become available for the right thing to find you. That means making peace with the unknown. And yes, I know that's scary, especially when you've been through seasons where uncertainty felt like abandonment, where delay felt like rejection, where waiting felt like punishment. But here's the secret. Divine delay is not divine denial. It's divine preparation. Sometimes God slows the process down, not to frustrate you, but to strengthen you. Not to hurt you, but to heal you in places you didn't even know were still wounded. And in that waiting, in that sacred space of not knowing, something incredible happens. Your spirit learns to trust the unseen. You learn to hear with your soul instead of just your senses. You stop reaching for what isn't real, and you start becoming magnetic to what is. Because when you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop begging for love, you create space to receive love. When you stop obsessing over money, you unlock the flow of true prosperity. And when you stop needing everything to happen now, you allow divine timing to show up better than you ever imagined. Letting go isn't passive. It's powerful. It says, I trust that what's mine will find me. It says, I no longer have to carry everything. It says, I release the weight of old stories that no longer serve who I'm becoming. So ask yourself today, what am I still clinging to that no longer aligns with my next level? Is it a relationship that only loves the version of you that stays small? Is it a belief that you're not good enough unless you're constantly producing? Is it an identity rooted in struggle that feels safe only because it's familiar? Whatever it is, breathe and begin to release it. Not because you're angry, not because you're bitter, but because you finally understand it's time to rise. The person you're becoming is too expansive to live in those old cages. And here's the miracle. The moment you surrender, the moment you create that internal spaciousness, life responds. That text you've been waiting for shows up. That opportunity you thought passed you by returns in a new form. That feeling of peace that's been missing, it suddenly fills your chest without warning. Because now, you're ready. You're no longer vibrating at the level of desperation, but at the level of destiny. You've stopped trying to make things work and started aligning with what's meant to flow. There is power in surrender. There is beauty in stillness, and there is breakthrough in release. You don't have to chase what's already been written into your story. Let go so it can meet you. Now let me speak to your heart just one-on-one. You don't have to carry that pain anymore. You don't have to overthink your worth. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to prove that you're ready. You are ready. You are seen. You are supported. You are chosen not just for love, but for ease. Not just for survival, but for joy. So breathe again. Loosen your grip and trust that the more you release, the more life will rise to meet you. Because what's coming next, you won't have to chase it. It will be drawn to your light. Let go and watch it arrive. You've let go. You've released what no longer serves you. And now, you're lighter, freer, open. That's where everything begins to shift. Because when you clear the clutter, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, you create space for the kind of life that was always meant for you. And now we step into a truth that many have been afraid to fully embrace. Love and wealth were never meant to live in opposite corners of your life. They were always meant to walk hand in hand, as a sacred union, as a divine partnership. But let's be honest, you've probably been taught otherwise. You were told that asking for both makes you greedy, that abundance taints spirituality, that you must choose between a deep relationship and financial peace, that love is pure but money corrupts, that spiritual people shouldn't desire material things, that good people shouldn't ask for more. And because you believed it, you divided your heart. You prayed for love, but were afraid to ask for wealth. You worked hard for money but felt guilty asking for meaningful connection. But chosen one, let's rewrite that now, because none of those beliefs came from truth. They came from fear, from broken systems, from scarcity mindsets passed down like family heirlooms, from people who had never tasted fullness and so they warned you against it. But that ends here, because the new version of you, the one you've been becoming, they are not afraid to hold both. They know that real love and real abundance enhance each other. Let me paint the picture for you. Imagine a love where you both feel emotionally safe, but also have the freedom to build, dream, and create. A love where you don't have to choose between connection and contribution, where affection and ambition coexist, where late-night laughter and legacy planning happen in the same space. That's not just a dream, that's divine design. Because when two people are aligned, when they both operate in purpose, integrity, and truth, they amplify each other. They multiply peace. They expand influence. They attract overflow. They reflect God's abundance back into the world. This is why the universe is preparing someone for you, who isn't just emotionally intelligent, but also energetically aligned to what you're building. Someone who doesn't shrink in the presence of your power. Someone who doesn't feel threatened by your vision. Someone who says, let's build this together. And yes, they are out there. But in order to receive this person, you must release the belief that you're asking for too much. You're not. You're asking for exactly what God whispered into your soul from the beginning. A love that supports you, and a life that reflects your calling. Wealth in this context isn't about greed. It's about capacity. It's about having the resources to live with freedom, to give without fear, to move through life without begging for breadcrumbs. It's about partnership that isn't constantly under pressure, where love isn't drowned by bills, burnout, or constant survival mode. Because love deserves room to breathe, to flourish, to expand, and that room is built by stability, not just emotion. Now hear this. Wealth is neutral. It becomes a tool in the hands of whoever holds it, in the hands of someone rooted in love, purpose, and integrity. It becomes a force for good. It funds dreams, heals communities, breaks generational curses. So when you, someone with a healed heart and clear intention, receive wealth, you don't just change your life. You become a vessel for divine impact. And when that wealth is paired with love, a love that sees you, supports you, and shares your values, you become unstoppable. This is why you've been refined. This is why certain relationships didn't work. This is why the journey felt longer than expected. Because you weren't just being prepared for love. You were being prepared for partnership, for legacy, for kingdom-building love. So what does this union look like? It looks like shared vision, mutual respect, honest communication, aligned values, a home filled with laughter, not just things. A bank account that grows because your energy is aligned, not anxious. A relationship that multiplies peace, not drains it. And it's possible. But here's what's required from you: a decision. You must decide that this is what you're worthy of. You must choose to no longer entertain dynamics that drain you. You must stop settling for relationships that only want your light but not your truth. You must step into the frequency of partnership before it arrives, because your energy is the invitation, and the universe cannot send you what you don't believe you deserve. So let's speak it out loud. I am worthy of love and wealth. I am worthy of a partner who builds with me in peace and purpose. I am open to receiving a relationship that honors my heart and multiplies my calling. Let those words settle into your soul, because everything you desire is not just possible, it's aligned. And now, as you walk in this truth, everything begins to respond. Not in chaos, not in confusion, but in confirmation. The right person will recognize the frequency you now carry. They'll move toward you because your energy matches theirs. And together you won't just fall in love, you'll build in love. This is the sacred union. This is the divine pairing. This is love and wealth as God intended. Not competing, but completing, not burdening, but blessing. And you, chosen one, are ready for it. Now that you've embraced the union of love and wealth, we'll shift into the deeper internal work, self-worth. Because receiving the blessing is one thing, but believing you deserve to keep it, that's where the next transformation begins. Let's continue. We've explored the power of divine partnership, love and wealth walking together as sacred allies in your life. But here's the truth that underpins it all. You cannot fully receive what you do not believe you're worthy of. And this, chosen one, is where many people get stuck. Not because the blessing isn't real, not because the soulmate isn't on the way, not because the abundance hasn't already been prepared, but because deep down, there's a fracture in self-worth, a quiet voice whispering, "Am I really allowed to have this? Can I actually keep something this good? Do I even deserve it?" That voice. It doesn't come from your spirit. It comes from conditioning, from past wounds, from rejection you normalized, from love you had to earn, from value you had to prove. But none of that is who you truly are. Self-worth isn't something you work for. It's something you remember. It's a spiritual knowing that cannot be measured by your income, your relationship status, or how perfectly you show up. It comes from within, from your soul, from your divine origin. You are worthy because you were created with intention. Worthy because you exist. Worthy because the God who formed you does not make mistakes. But life tries to make you forget. It tells you you're only valuable when you're needed, only lovable when you're convenient, only enough when you've earned your place. So what happens? You start over giving, hoping to be kept. You start overworking, hoping to be seen. You start silencing your needs, hoping to be chosen. But none of that leads to peace. It only leads to burnout and heartbreak. So today we reclaim your worth. Not in theory, in truth, in action. You're not just going to say, "I'm worthy." You're going to live like you believe it. Because when your energy is rooted in worth, everything you attract begins to mirror that. You stop chasing love, and love starts finding you. You stop forcing money, and resources begin flowing in. You stop over-explaining yourself, and people who truly understand begin arriving. Why? Because you've shifted. You've stopped trying to prove something. You've started embodying it. And that embodiment, it creates spiritual authority. You walk differently when you know you belong. You speak differently when you know your voice carries weight. You set boundaries not out of fear but out of respect for your energy. This is how you move into alignment without effort. Not because you're louder, but because your presence is clearer, more anchored, more magnetic. But let's get practical for a moment. How do you actually build self-worth from the inside out? You begin with your inner voice. Start noticing how you speak to yourself when no one's around. Do you encourage yourself? Do you celebrate your small wins? Or do you criticize every imperfection? That voice is your foundation. So shift it intentionally. Replace "I'm not ready" with "I'm becoming." Replace "this always happens to me" with "everything is aligning for my growth." Replace "I'm too much" with "I'm exactly as I was designed to be." Next, look at how you treat your body. Self-worth shows up in rest, in nourishment, in honoring your boundaries. When you sleep well, move with care, eat with mindfulness, you signal to your soul, "I am worth taking care of." Then evaluate your environment. Are you surrounding yourself with people who reflect your healing, or people who require your shrinking? You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they were part of your past. You are allowed to grow beyond old circles. You are allowed to choose alignment over history. And yes, it will feel lonely at first, but that's where your strength is refined. That's where your self-worth grows strong enough to hold your next level. Because here's the sacred truth. You're not waiting to be chosen anymore, because you've already chosen yourself. And when you make that choice fully, unapologetically, consistently, everything begins to reflect that. People will treat you how you treat yourself. Life will reflect the standard you hold. God will match the faith you walk in. So stop disqualifying yourself from what is already yours. Stop assuming you have to be perfect before you're allowed to be loved. Stop thinking you need to struggle before you're allowed to succeed. Stop believing you have to earn what heaven already placed in your spirit. You're not here to compete. You're not here to perform. You're here to receive. Not because you're entitled, but because you finally realized your birthright. Self-worth isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It says, "I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I no longer settle for anything that asks me to forget that." Let that be your anchor. Because the life that's coming, the one you've dreamed of, requires you to own your place in it. Not question it, not tiptoe into it. Own it. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be supported. Let yourself be loved, deeply, fully, truly, because you are worthy. And it's time you let the world adjust to that truth. Now that you've reclaimed your worth, it's time to take the next step, alignment in action. Next, we'll talk about how to embody your worth through small daily choices, how inspired action magnetizes destiny, and why you no longer have to hustle, only flow. Let's move forward. You've done something powerful. You've reclaimed your self-worth, not just as an idea, but as an identity, and now it's time to walk it out. Because worth isn't just a belief, it's a way of being. It's expressed in your daily choices, your posture, your presence, your patterns. This is where alignment becomes more than energy. It becomes action. Alignment in action is how you tell the universe, "I'm not just dreaming anymore, I'm ready." You see, chosen one, energy alone is not enough. You can journal affirmations all day, visualize your soulmate and your abundance. But without movement, dreams stay frozen in potential. So let's talk about what alignment really looks like. Because it's not about doing more. It's about doing what's true. It's not hustle. It's honesty. It's not perfection. It's presence. It's not performance. It's purpose. Every step you take now should reflect the version of you you've been becoming. The healed, whole, grounded version who knows they're worthy of love, wealth, and peace. Let's get real practical. You want love that's healthy? Start showing up for yourself in healthy ways. Speak to yourself the way you want your partner to speak to you. Don't tolerate disrespect in your own thoughts, because those patterns shape your posture in relationships. You want wealth that flows with ease? Start treating money with clarity and respect. Know your numbers. Bless what you have. Act like someone who is already trusted with overflow. The universe doesn't reward chaos. It responds to clarity. When you begin to move in alignment with the life you say you want, you begin to magnetize it. And no, this doesn't mean everything happens instantly, but it does mean everything begins moving. Quietly, powerfully, behind the scenes. People show up, resources align, doors open. Why? Because you did more than wait. You prepared. Now let's talk about something important. Inspired action. Not anxious striving. Not acting from fear. Not chasing or proving, but moving from your truth. That's what inspired action is. It's saying yes when it resonates deeply, even if it scares you. It's choosing the uncomfortable growth path over the familiar cycle. It's sending the message, making the decision, investing in yourself, taking that one brave step forward, even when you can't see the full staircase. Inspired action is movement that flows from alignment, not from pressure. And when your energy is rooted in love, your actions become extensions of that love. You begin attracting people who match your clarity. You start noticing synchronicities more often. You stop settling for things that only offer temporary comfort. Because you're building something eternal now. Remember this, the life that's meant for you will never ask you to abandon your soul to have it. That includes love. That includes wealth. That includes any opportunity. So if it costs you peace, your voice, or your worth, it's not aligned. And if you're not sure what's aligned right now, ask yourself, does this move me closer to who I'm becoming? Or back into who I had to be to survive? That question will guide you. Now here's something else the world doesn't talk about enough. Flow. You don't need to grind your way into divine destiny. You don't need to constantly do, prove, push. Alignment is easeful. Not always easy, but full of ease. Because when your spirit is aligned, you no longer fight every current. You begin to move with the rhythm of your season. Think of it like this. A tree doesn't strive to grow. It just roots deeply, opens to the light, and allows the process to unfold. And you, chosen one, are the same. Root in truth. Turn toward the light. Allow things to grow. You don't need to rush the blooming. You just need to trust that what's planted in you is real. Now let's anchor this in a few grounded actions. 1. Create sacred space every day. This is your time to align with your spirit through prayer, silence, journaling, breathwork, whatever connects you. Even 10 intentional minutes can shift your entire frequency. 2. Move in the direction of what lights you up. If something excites your spirit, follow that. Joy is a compass, peace is a signal, and fear, often just a gatekeeper to your next level. 3. Speak what you're creating. Your words carry creative power. Start speaking life over your love life. Speak increase over your finances. Speak alignment into your decisions. Stop narrating lack. Start declaring overflow. 4. Release the need for immediate results. Seeds don't become trees overnight, but they always grow if they're nurtured. Stay faithful. Your consistency is the proof of your belief. 5. Protect your frequency. Not everyone will understand the version of you that's rising. Not everyone will celebrate your new boundaries, and that's okay. You're not here to be palatable to people who benefit from your silence. You're here to be powerful in your truth. And yes, there will be tests, moments where the old version of you wants to resurface, where fear tries to call you back to comfort, where unaligned offers come wrapped in shiny promises. But this time, you won't fall for it. You'll feel the difference, because you now know your worth. You now know the cost of compromising. And you're finally unavailable for anything that misaligns with your peace. You don't need to burn yourself out for breakthroughs. You don't need to exhaust your spirit to earn love. You just need to keep choosing alignment daily, honestly, consistently. That's how your new life unfolds, not in one massive leap, but in 1,000 small sacred choices. And one day you'll look around and realize you didn't chase any of it. You simply became the version of you who could hold it. Take a breath. Look at how far you've come. Through the self-doubt, through the heartbreak, through the seasons of waiting where you wondered if anything was shifting at all. But it was. You were. Piece by piece, moment by moment, you were becoming the one who no longer begs to be chosen, the one who walks with quiet power, the one who doesn't chase love because they've become love, the one who attracts wealth, not through force but through alignment. It may not have always looked like progress on the outside, but the transformation was always happening within, and now you're standing in the evidence. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're no longer pretending. You're no longer shrinking. You're no longer apologizing for desiring a full, abundant, love-filled life. You've let go of what you're not. You've embraced who you truly are. And now, you're ready to receive what was always meant for this version of you. So let me remind you of something sacred. You are not waiting on a miracle. You are the miracle. You are what generations prayed for. You are what alignment looks like. And as you keep showing up, day by day, your energy becomes the invitation for every blessing already on its way. You don't need to rush. You don't need to force. You just need to keep walking in truth. Keep trusting your process. Keep choosing alignment over anxiety, purpose over performance, faith over fear. So now take these affirmations with you. I am ready. I am aligned. I am magnetic to love, to wealth, to peace. I am no longer who I was. I am who I was always meant to be. I am becoming. I am expanding. I am receiving. Let that echo in your soul, because your next chapter, it won't require striving, only receiving. From here forward, walk with confidence, not arrogance, not pride, but with the quiet knowing that everything you need is already responding to the real you. You're not behind, you're not late, you're right on time. So stay open, stay grateful, and above all, stay you, because you are the answer. You are the sign, you are the proof that miracles walk the earth. And everything you've been praying for, it's already making its way to you. If this message resonated with your soul, comment 777 below as your declaration. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, because more prophetic wisdom, truth, and alignment is coming. We're not just building a community, we're rising together. This is your time, and you're ready.